This graveyard is my graveyard of failed businesses, and the average person who still perseveres in the space of online business after at least one failed attempt has a similar graveyard. We're going to go through each business one by one, and I'll share the biggest takeaway, and then I'm going to end the video with an action step that you can take today, which will take you a step closer to where you want to be. Alright, which tombstone should we start with? Let's do this one. This was my very first online business. The game plan was to buy 2012 MacBook Pros in 2018, and that was significant because it was one of the last MacBook Pro models that were produced with a hard disk drive. And if you don't know what a hard disk drive is, it's basically a slower, cheaper storage option for computers, and all I had to do to speed up a 2012 MacBook Pro was swap out the hard drive for a solid state drive and put in more thermal paste to help with heating. And I could have easily made anywhere from $100 to $150 per MacBook. However, as you can imagine, things simply did not go according to plan because of literal technical difficulties. In this business, I really learned the importance of risk management because I invested about $200 into each MacBook and had the opportunity to get back around $100, which was a 1.5x return. But as a high school student, $200 was a lot to me. It took me months and months to save that kind of money. So yes, high risk, high reward, but don't risk something that you're not willing to lose. So after that failed, also in 2018, there was a new craze going around, which you've no doubt heard of, going by the name of SMMA, or social media marketing agencies. Many YouTubers I watched at the time were doing it, so I thought, why the hell not try it out? In my head, this was much better than the eBay flipping opportunity because I didn't require as much capital, if any capital at all. So I set up my website, if even, and then tried to watch courses on YouTube, but that's about where it ended for me. I had focused so much on the little things that I didn't even attempt to put time into the higher leverage tasks, which impatience is a lesson we'll get to in a later business model, but for this one, the biggest lesson was the 80-20 rule. There's unlimited work, as I discovered. I can make websites, make email accounts, new logos, watch YouTube videos of successful people, watch free courses, and so much more. But by doing that, I was sinking time into the 80% that only yielded 20% of the results. But more realistically, it yielded 0% of the results because I hadn't even attempted to get any money or get a client. Which brings me to lesson 2. The importance of the 80-20 rule and subsequently the importance of leverage. 20% of the effort leads to 80% of the results. So a good action step you can take is to ask yourself every week, what repeating, because usually that 20% is a repeating action, what repeating action can I take this week that will move my business forward the most? So for me, it's making these videos and DMing people on Twitter. If you have a TikTok dropshipping agency, it might be scouting TikTok creators or talking to your manufacturer to work on quality improvements for your product or meeting with your team. Regardless, make sure when you set these goals you include a target number. That was another thing I went wrong with in this business. So for example, I would like to put out one video per week minimum. Sometimes I may hit more than that, but my target is one video per week. And for Twitter DMs, I'd like to DM 10 people per day. There will be more actionable steps like this at the end of the video, and if you want to skip to the end just to get to the action steps, be my guest, but it won't have the same effect as if you watch the video all the way through. The dropshipping craze. This was at its peak in 2018, 2019, and of course I had to try it out. So learning my lesson about risk management, I decided to not sink too much capital into it this time. But the main gist of what I'd be doing was I'd find discounted products on Amazon, then I'd sell them on eBay for a profit. So I'm not even gonna lie, I was being downright stupid with this one. I kind of just jumped in without understanding too much of how things work. I ended up finding some huge gallon of insecticide on Amazon for like $55 and was averaging a sold price on eBay for about $70. So I literally just ripped the listing from Amazon and put it on eBay. It took a while to sell, and when it did, the price on Amazon had increased. At this point, I can either cancel the order and risk my reputation being messed up, or I could eat the loss, which is what I did. This was a very, very sour pill to swallow, even more sour than the MacBook flipping situation, and I tried to dropship another product, but I only made $2 profit, which at that period of my life, I didn't really understand the compounding effect, and so after that, I literally quit online business for a long while. The major lesson here, which was reinforced later on, was to celebrate the small wins, especially in the wake of a loss, no matter how big the loss. It takes a lot of work to get to where we want to go, and a lot of the times it's just a bunch of small wins stacking on top of each other. And it's easy to forget this because a lot of other people's wins that we see are typically the huge home run wins. No one is going to post a YouTube video of them getting $2 profit after selling one product. No one is going to make an Instagram post talking about how their YouTube video got 10 views. Speaking of YouTube, that brings me to the next business. After all this, the whole making money online thing didn't appeal to me anymore for a while. However, I had wanted to start a YouTube channel for over half a decade at this point, and that craving grew much stronger during the world events, but I told myself I'd just wait till I got to college to start the channel, so I didn't actually start the channel until 2 years later. For my first real video on the channel, scripting it was an absolute pain because I quite literally didn't have enough footage for the length of video I wanted. And in addition, editing this video took 8 hours. I'm not even exaggerating, I was literally in a flow state the whole time. No phone, no social media, no nothing. And I also had a full-time job too during this period. Needless to say, the time commitment of it all scared me because in my eyes, I wasn't seeing results fast enough. And I mean, the lesson I learned here is pretty obvious. Don't get impatient because fast success is never good. I'm glad I didn't have to learn that the hard way by being a one-hit wonder. It literally damages your reputation. Like, think of the people who came to fame really quickly after doing one thing. Think about other one-hit wonders. People tend to not respect these people because it's seen as them just getting lucky, and in addition, it also warps your perception of hard work and what it takes to quote-unquote make it. And think about it this way. What's it similar to? It's literally just like a drug. Very little effort for very high reward, which is why it's so addicting. And when you come down from that high and you're not able to achieve it again or achieve it again as easily, it leads to depression in both our drug addiction scenario and our one-hit wonder scenario. Now, don't get it twisted. I didn't permanently quit my main YouTube channel at Cody Not Cody. I just have a bigger game plan in progress, and I'm totally planning on returning when the time is right. Okay, so this right here is my most recent business, which honestly, I know even sitting here today that I could have made it work. However, I simply just didn't enjoy it, and that was my web design agency. I did lose a bit of money here as well, but it was all for learning anyway, so was it really lost? But yeah, I just didn't really find myself interested in the domain of what I was offering and realized that at this moment, it's not really the best vehicle, so I had to jump out before it was too late into a higher opportunity vehicle. And we'll just jump straight into the lesson, being that it's not mandatory that you like or are interested in what you do, but it's pretty important. Yes, very similar in human to human interactions, attraction can grow in human to business interactions. Alex Hormozi talks about creating your passion after finding it. But for me, if you're on a path to create it and you find it somewhere else, then don't let your girlfriend stop you from finding your wife, if you know what I mean. Obviously, don't take this to the extreme and jump from opportunity to opportunity once you see the next best thing, because similar to dating, there's always a hotter girl or guy than the one you have. You just find the right one and commit. Right, enough of the dating analogies. I hope this video has served you, and I'm going to give you a couple of actionable steps you can take to make sure you're not just mindlessly consuming content, but you're also implementing it. So first, in your business or in your life, I want you to write down a list of 5 to 10 daily or weekly actions you can take that accounts for 80% of the results. This could be working out for an hour a day, sticking to a rigid fasting diet, posting a YouTube video per week for your online business, link it in the description if you need help with this, meeting with your clients every day, meeting with your team, anything. Just write it down, put it in your calendar. Hell, you could even tweet at me. Just do whatever you have to do to make sure you actually follow through. The second actionable step is to look in the past week and acknowledge yourself right now as you're watching this video for the small wins you've had, and if you genuinely haven't had any, then you taking initiative to get shit done today is a win in my books, as long as you actually do it. Don't let 10 to 20 view YouTube videos discourage you from what you want to achieve. Don't let the fact that people haven't been responding to your cold DMs stop you from attaining the life you want. Just up and at 'em, up and at 'em, up and at 'em, and look back every now and then to see just how far you've come. Now, tweet at me to let me know how it goes, and remember, the goal is to always be improving, and I'll see you in the next video.